athletes, let's talk leadership. A few weeks ago, we talked about leading people through your actions. If we're going to do that successfully, we really first have to look at what we think and the way that we think. The words that we speak and the things that we think in our minds about ourselves, about the world, about others, those are the things that really drive our actions. And to be straight to the point with you, you can control how you think. Actually, you have to control what you think and lead your thoughts if you're going to be successful. If you want to create the life that you want to live, you have to take control of your thoughts. If you want to create the season for your sport that you want, you have to take control of your thoughts. If you want this next game that you're going to play in to go the way that you want to, you have to take control of your thoughts. If you don't guide your thoughts and deliberately tell your brain what to think and train it to think that way, you're just going to be constantly responding to situations that you face kind of at random and kind of just in the pattern of what you've always done. And nobody reacts to every situation perfectly, so there's always room for improvement. You'll hear of a lot of athletes, elite level athletes, using visualization as a training protocol for them, as a way of getting ready for a game or a practice even. And all that is where you close your eyes and you picture yourself playing your sport. You picture yourself going through the motions of the form and getting the form correctly in your mind. Sometimes you can do it so well that you can even feel the muscle fibers in your body firing as you're going through these visualization techniques and these exercises. It gets you used to doing things the correct way. You actually probably do all this now. When you're in a practice right before a game and the coach has done some scouting, they're going through things that the other team will often do, like the other team's tactics, and the coach is giving you ways to overcome those tactics. Hey, this is the kind of defense this team runs, so this is what we're going to do in this situation. You're actually going through this process and you're visualizing, and you practice going through those things over and over again in these situations, so that come game time, you know what to do. You're not caught off guard. You just go ahead with what you've rehearsed. And they do the same thing in the military. They do this with pilots a lot as well. What they'll do is they'll put them in simulators. It seems like you're driving a truck. It seems like you're flying a plane. It seems like you're flying a helicopter. And you'll go through these situations over and over again, and they'll break them down and tell you what you did wrong and tell you what you should have done, and then you'll go back into the simulator and you'll practice it again and you'll practice it again until your instincts are trained the right way, and then they start to take over. So you can do the same thing with your thoughts right now. And I'm talking about your internal thoughts and your mouth responding to certain situations that you face. When you're in a game, you're going to come up against tough situations. A ref is going to make a bad call against you. A teammate is going to be maybe playing selfishly or making bad decisions. A coach is going to pull you out of the game. How are you going to react? You might be having a bad game. How are you going to react? You might have just made a terrible decision and the game was on the line. Time's running down. How are you going to react? As a leader, you might need to confront one of your teammates off the court or off the field. How are you going to react if they don't react to you confronting them in a good way? Are you going to flip out and go back at them and try to attack them? Or are you going to be ready because you've thought about it and you've prepared your mind in advance? These are some examples of what I'm talking about when I say train your thoughts and lead with your thoughts. Lead yourself with your thoughts so that your actions follow. Similar to the visualization exercises that I was talking about just a few minutes ago with athletes getting ready for games, you can do the same thing in facing certain kind of situations mentally. Maybe you blew it a couple times when you were in tough situations in a game, or when confronting a teammate or having a heated discussion. Maybe you reacted in a way that just brought yourself down or brought the team down. And you want to learn to react better than that. Now that you're looking back at it, you have a better idea of how you should have reacted, how you should have handled that situation. Well, you could go back in that situation in your mind and replay it all out. And you close your eyes and you get as much detail as possible as you can, so it feels like you're in the situation. And then you let that situation unfold and that event unfold in your mind. But this time, and you make sure that you're reacting the way that you should have, and then allow that to continue to play out. And what this does is this trains your mind. It trains you to react a certain way. Your mind, much like your computer or your cell phone when you're on the web browser or anything like that, it detects patterns. It creates shortcuts to thoughts and actions based upon certain similar circumstances. So when you visualize and you practice these reactions to these situations over and over again, they start to become your default. So now when you're in the heat of the moment, you've practiced this situation, whatever it is that you face in the game, whatever else it is that you face, in interpersonal confrontation. Now you've trained yourself to react the right way. And so your chances of success in these situations will be far greater than if you never thought about them and you didn't take the time to train your mind or the way that you think. Another way to train your thoughts is to control your environment. Surround yourself with the kind of people that think the way you want to think. Surround yourself with the kind of people that are committed to thinking the way that you want to think. Think about the kind of music you listen to, the books that you might be reading, the things that you're looking at, what you're listening to. What kind of ideas and thoughts are these planting in your head? Because if you're not intentionally filling your mind, filling your eyes, filling your ears with the things that you want to think, you're wasting your time. Because whatever kind of environment you immerse yourself in is what you start to produce, and what starts to produce in your mind and what starts to come out in your actions. You guys remember the science experiment from when you were in like second or third grade with celery and food color? You took the celery and you put it in like the different cups, and then you put different color food coloring in there, and that celery sat in the red food coloring, and what happened? It sucked the red food coloring up and it started to turn red. The other one started to turn blue because it was soaking in blue food coloring. It's the same thing with your thoughts. It's the same thing with your actions. What you surround yourself with, what you immerse yourself in, is going to be exactly what you produce. So if you want to be somebody that problem solves, if you want to be somebody that reacts correctly to situations, if you want to be somebody whose instincts seem to be always right, start to train them. Start to train your thoughts and surround yourself with exactly what you want to be. Surround yourself with the people you want to be like, and surround yourself and fill yourself with the thoughts that you want to think. In the world that we live in, people are always trying to tell you what to think. They're really slick about it, and you won't know what's happening. So if you don't become assertive and go on the offensive to create in your mind the thought patterns and the thought process and to think the thoughts that you want to think, then somebody else is going to do it for you. And you're not going to like the results. And it's not going to be what you want. So take this information, go lead your thoughts, lead your mind, and watch your actions follow.